Picture this. July 3rd, 1976. A sun-baked car park in Cheltenham, where the tarmac feels soft under your shoes and the vinyl seat grabs the backs of your legs at 35.9 degrees Celsius. You shut the door, and the whole cabin smells of warm plastic, petrol, and yesterday's chips. Wikipedia, you're not thinking about classic cars. You're thinking about getting home and keeping it running, because in 1970s Britain, the car isn't just transport. It's a little rolling living room, a toolbox, a shelter from rain that comes in sideways. By June 17, 1970, the Range Rover is being shown to the world like a new kind of promise, comfort, and go-anywhere toughness in one. Land Rover media. But by October 17, 1973, the oil embargo hits the world like a slammed bonnet, and suddenly fuel feels precious. History.com cues grow. Tempers snap. And the smell of petrol hangs in the air like it's worth money. You don't need luxury. You need quirks that work. And in a 1970s British car, the quirks are everywhere. You'll see them in a Ford Cortina, parked nose out on the curb. You'll feel them in an Austin Allegro that always seems slightly too hot inside, even in November. You'll hear them in a Vauxhall Chevette's door shutting with a light, tinny clack, like a biscuit tin being closed. And the best part is this. You didn't call them features. You called them the way it is. Hold on to one phrase as we go. Cold metal. Warm vinyl. A whiff of petrol, because you're about to sit back inside 15 little moments you can almost touch again. First, the manual choke. It's not a button. It's a ritual that on a cold morning, you pull that little knob and feel the cable drag, like you're waking the engine up by hand. Your fingers go numb on the plastic, and the motor answers with a lumpy, stubborn cough until it finally settles into that rattly idle. Uncle Mick shows you how. He says, "Not too much, or you'll flood it." You nod like you understand, while your breath fogs the windscreen and the radio crackles to life anyway, but you don't know yet what the car will ask you to do with your feet. Not on the pedals. Somewhere else. Just wait. Next, the floor-mounted headlamp dip switch. Down by your left foot, hiding in the carpet like a secret. You're driving at night, drizzle ticking the glass, and when a car appears ahead you stamp the floor. Click. The beams dip. Click. Back again. It feels brilliant, like you're operating a machine with proper physical switches, not polite little stalks. You do it even when no one's there. Just for the sound. Click. Click. Then the quarter light windows. Those tiny front triangles that make you feel like a pilot. You twist the little latch, push the glass open, and a sharp ribbon of air slices into the cabin. It whistles. It brings in the smell of wet hedgerows, exhaust, and someone's would smoke from a chimney. Your hand rests on cold chrome. Your sleeve flaps. And somehow that tiny window feels like freedom. After that, the heater that takes its time. A long time. You turn a slider, and for ages nothing happens except a faint fan whine and the taste of disappointment. Then, eventually warm air arrives, slightly dusty, like it's been stored since last winter. The demister barely clears a porthole, so you wipe the glass with your sleeve and leave a smear that catches every street lamp. You learn patience. You learn layers. You learn to drive half-blind and optimistic. Meanwhile, the washer system isn't a crisp electric squirt. Sometimes it's a hand pump. A little rubber button. Press, press, press. And the jets dribble like a reluctant garden hose. The sound is a soft squeak under your thumb. The water smells faintly soapy, and the wipers slap it around in slow arcs, leaving the world only slightly improved. But then comes the wiper speed that feels like it's chosen by fate. Slow. Or frantic, no gentle interval. No clever sensor. Just the steady clunk of the mechanism, the rubber chattering on glass, and you leaning forward because you swear it helps you see. Now the cigarette lighter and the ashtray. Standard. Expected. Even if no one smokes, the lighter's there like a tiny stove. You push it in, and it holds for a moment, heating up. Then it pops out with a small metallic snap. The ashtray lid slides with a gritty little scrape, and the whole thing smells faintly of old tobacco and burnt dust. Auntie Sue keeps Polo mints in hers. That's the rule. Car mints only. You pinch one between your fingers, and it tastes of sugar and spearmint, mixed with the warm plastic smell of the cabin. Then there's the radio. Not touchscreens. Proper knobs, a radio mobile set with a dial that glows amber, like a tiny fireplace. You turn the knob and it crackles through stations until you land on something familiar. Maybe Top of the Pops talk, maybe a football result, maybe a song that suddenly fills the car like a shared secret. Your fingertips feel the ridges on the volume knob. The speaker buzzes a bit, but it's yours. And if you're lucky, there's a cassette player. A tape that lives in the glove box. You push it in, and the machine takes it with a soft clunk. The music comes out slightly muffled, slightly warlike, but you don't care. You've got a soundtrack now, and it makes the road feel smoother than it is. But you still haven't met the feature that always ends up in your pocket. The one you find on the carpet weeks later. Until next, the loose change tray. Or sometimes no tray at all. Coins roam free. 2p, 10p, maybe a battered quid, sliding under seats and clinking on corners. You hear them every time you brake. You'll find them later, warm from the heater, smelling faintly of metal and old sweets. Money has a sound in these cars. A small, bright rattle. Always there. Now the mirrors.
Small.
Manual. You wind down the window a crack, feel the cold air on your knuckles, and reach out to adjust the wing mirror by hand. The glass is chilly and it resists, then gives with a squeak. You do it at traffic lights, trying to look casual, pretending you're not stretching like a circus act, and the rearview mirror has that little day-night flip tab. A tiny lever. A tiny relief. You flick it and the glare softens, and you feel absurdly clever for knowing it exists. Then you get to the steering wheel. Huge. Thin.in some cars. It's so big it feels like steering a bus. Your palms slide slightly if they're sweaty, and the wheel's surface has that smooth, hard feel that warms slowly under your hands. And if you're in an Austin Allegro, you meet the Cortic wheel.
Squarish.
Unforgettable. It sits there like something from the future that arrived slightly confused. Your hands grip the corners, and the vinyl feels tacky in summer, icy in winter. For visuals, the Allegro interior photo, with the Cortic wheel, is spot on. Wikimedia Commons, but the wheel is only half the story. Because power steering isn't guaranteed. You swing the wheel at low speed, and it fights back. The tires scrub. The car groans. Your shoulders do the work, and you feel like you've earned every parking space. Now, the smell. Not air fresheners. Real smells. Leaded fuel on your hands after the pump. Warm vinyl baking in sunshine. Damp wool coats drying on the back seat. Chips and paper on your lap. And always underneath, that faint oily scent of engine and road. Cold metal. Warm vinyl. A whiff of petrol by the time you hit the emotional peak of the decade, December 25th, 1977. The whole country feels tuned to the same channel. More than 28 million viewers watch the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special. Half the nation, laughing together, full of tea and leftovers and warmth.